What's up everyone, it is Dark Viper and I am here to show you how to AFK farm. And this is a great way for you to be able to get OP quick. The only difference between onions and berry bushes is that you actually have to be moving to be able to farm berry bushes very well. You could stand still and just AFK farm like this and just move your mouse around and it could auto that way. It's really bad though because you're limited to the number of bushes that are on the screen and you can do all these different bushes, but what happens when you run out of those? That's just not very efficient long term as well. So if you want to get at least 1,000 seeds in a day, you can do this approach, which is actually quite cool. So before I begin, this is only going to work on PC. If you're looking for something for mobile or Mac, you may need to do your own research there, but essentially it'll still work with the same principles. First thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to portableapps.com and we are going to download Tiny Task Portable. You're going to install it and then you're going to run it. After you've installed Tiny Task, you're going to run it and you're going to see a small little menu like this. And so you know this software is actually free. What you're going to do here is we need to set up our area. So first we need to basically make a little area that's contained so that when you're recording your movement, you're not like kind of running off the cliff and stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a little guide area. So what you're going to do is you're going to make a 1-block path. You're going to border a single path. And I'm just going to show you the most basic approach to this. And how you design this is totally up to you. I kind of like the straighter paths and I'll show you mine in a little bit. We'll just go ahead and do a zigzag kind of look for you. So we'll loop it. We'll make the most basic loop we can do. All right, so this is our loop. And I'm going to go ahead and plant some seeds here. Planted some seeds, so now we're going to wait for these bushes to grow. And while we wait, I'm just going to replace this with iron blocks because it looks better. It's a little clearer. So while we wait for these berries to grow, I'm going to go ahead and show you my current design, which I'm actually in the middle of redoing because I found a better way of doing it, but I'll show you it currently. So what I do is I start here and then I go and harvest all the way down at full speed, right? And then I make a turn. But when you make the turn, when I show you how to do this, when you make the turn, you're going to want to make sure you're cornered. So make sure you're pushing against this corner and using the D key. So we're just using WASD. We're not using the mouse at all. We're not going to be using the mouse at all during this recording, but you're basically going to push yourself against this corner. And then you're going to push yourself against that corner and then you're going to make this turn. The reason why we do that is we don't want drifting. Like over time, I don't want you to get like stuck where you're like maybe like this and starting to get hung up on corners because you're not cornering properly. And then you go all the way down here. Now you can see I'm just zigzagging over and over and over. And that's a good use of space. But the problem is when you're zigzagging a lot in shorter stretches like this, you're going to slow down, right? So that means less berries that you're actually harvesting. So I'm actually redoing this to be a longer stretch. So I'm going to be taking all these walls out and our new stretch is going to go all the way down here. You can see it's pretty long, right? So we go all the way down here and then we're going to make a U-turn here. So that way I'm not making as many turns that are short. So I'm going to be going longer stretches and then a stretch down here. I'm going to be doing it back and forth that way. So it's just a way better way of doing it in my opinion because you're not turning as much, right? You're just basically, you're sprinting. You're sprinting as fast as you can. So I think we're going to probably be able to get a lot more than 1,000 seeds in a night if we do it this way. And I think I have about maybe 2,000 bushes here. I don't think I have much more than 2,000 because full sprint, you're not going to be able to do more than 2,000 bushes. I might be able to. Now, there are better ways to do this. Like if you really want to go crazy with your Tiny Task macro, then you could even, instead of doing it the way I'm doing it, you can actually make it so that you're harvesting multiple rows of berries in one path by having your mouse going this way, back and forth really, really fast. I just think that's kind of excessive and I'd rather just keep things to the basic. I don't like complicated stuff because more errors can occur. So I'm just using one path for my berries. So we're going to go ahead and create our macro now. We're going to open up Tiny Task and we're going to go to prefs and I'm going to show you which keys you need to use. So in order to be able to toggle recording on and off, you're going to be using the F8 key. So that's what I've got assigned. By default, it actually assigns it to Control-Shift-Alt-R. I like to F8 because it's just a little easier to access and I don't have to hit so many keys at once. And then for playback, I use Control-Shift-Alt-P because it's okay for you're not recording anymore, or you can just hit the play button. You'll want to also set continuous playback. If you're playing your macro, it's not going to loop unless you use continuous playback. So, or you can just say if you only want it to loop a couple times, and you can do that too. First things first, what I like to do is zoom all the way in so that I can see the berry bush, and I'm just going to make sure I'm in a corner somewhere. You should be somewhere nicely, and you need to remember where you start. So this is going to always be my starting point right here, right? This square right here is always going to be my starting point because we got to loop back to it for it to work. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm cornered by hitting S and D So D is to slide right, right? If you know A and D, you go left, right with A and D. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit S and D. So now I'm cornered, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit F8 to start recording. And what's gonna happen though is I'm going to start spamming the F key to harvest while I move. So you'll see I'm only using the keyboard. Do not touch your mouse during this time, or it's gonna record your mouse movement. Don't touch your mouse. Only mess with your keyboards. I'm basically, with one hand, I'm gonna be spamming the F key, and the other I'm using WASD, basically WASD for my movement. I'm gonna hit record now. So now it's recording, and I'm doing, so you can see I just did an F. So now I'm doing F, spamming F, and then I'm gonna move to the left, and then going back, and then I'm going to the right, and then I'm stopping. I just stopped the recording. Now we can play that back so you can see it work. I'm gonna set it to continuous so that it loops. So you see it's checked, and I'm going to play it. Now, the nice thing about this is I did not mess with the mouse during this time. So all it's doing is running keyboard commands for me. So that means I can actually zoom out if I wanted to. One of the things I like to do is make sure I corner. So you see how I'm like perfectly cornered whenever I do this. I run up against the block and the next block to it, so the right block. And that way I don't get kind of like, over time, you can kind of start turning yourself around. So you kind of want to make sure you're lined up correctly. So you can see I'm perfectly lined up each time. All right, so what I want to do is I want to show you how to auto a larger farm than that little loop that I showed you. And we're going to go to my starting corner. So this is where I start and end from my loop. How you start, like I said, is basically being in this corner. So I'm going to corner this. I'm going to make sure I'm like my screen's centered right. And then I'm going to hit F8 to record. And then I'm going to start spamming the F key. All I'm doing is using the keyboard again. Don't use your mouse. Do not touch your mouse. I'm cornering back. Now, one thing I would say from a design, I wouldn't copy my design on this. I'm actually changing mine to be a lot longer. So there's a lot less corners like this. Corner, because doing those corners are actually slowing down your feed. And the other thing I'm going to show you is I am going to sprint run. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase the speed of this. And that's how you're going to farm so many more seeds, is sprint running. So we're going to go and hold shift now. Now by doing this, you're going to have to spam the F keys so much faster, right? You're going to hear that spamming. I'm spamming it. So you're going to basically be full sprint this entire time. And you can see this is kind of OP. Now, if the devs say, you know what, macros, we change our mind, we're not allowing them, then definitely listen to them. You're going to have to stop doing this. I'm only doing it because on the Discord, I've seen nothing but okays from mods from a macro standpoint. Otherwise, again, I wouldn't macro this. So definitely pay attention to what the devs say. If they change their mind and rules, then listen to them. And then likewise for Roblox, I've read the Roblox terms and service. I didn't see anything about this for macros, and they generally don't ban for auto clickers. They do if you're exploiting or hacking. So if you're hacking and you're using scripts and commands, do stuff that you shouldn't be inside the client, well, you're going to get banned. So don't hack, okay? I'm fully against hacking. So my finger is getting tired, so you're going to have to switch fingers. Switch from the middle finger to the pointer finger and pinky, whatever you need. But you're basically spamming this F key over and over and over because it's just recording exactly what you press. And I'm still holding shift, I'm still running, and I'm using the WASD. Again, WASD. So the other night I actually had to do this over and over and over because I kept redoing my farm. I was so mad because I kept redoing it. I was like, oh, I just made my farm better. Oh, I just added another row. Oh, great, because now I've got to actually re-record my macro. But basically how this is going to go is after we're done here, we're going to stop the recording, and then we're going to save the script out. Make sure you save your script. If you don't save your script, you've lost all of your progress here. So you're going to miss a lot of berries. It's okay if you miss a lot of berries. Don't worry. So when you're at the end here, you're going to hit F8 to stop it. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to actually show you how to play this back. Now, one thing you notice is that these berries are not ready yet because I don't have enough bushes yet. I'm filling this in still. So just to make sure for best output that these are actually all respawned. So basically what that means is you're going to want to have too many bushes. You don't want to have too few like this because you're going to look, if I'm running this on a loop, that means I'm looping through bushes I've already harvested and there's no berries on these. It would just be a huge time waste. So when you're looping again, you want it to actually go through all these berry bushes again when they're ready to harvest, not empty. Otherwise, you're just kind of wasting time, like I said. So now we're going to go and play it back. We're going to go and load up Tiny Task. Then we're going to save the script out. We're just going to call it berry farm, just so we have it later. And then we're going to go make sure prefs, under prefs, it's under continuous playback because we want it to loop. And we can just hit play if you want, or you can use the control commands. I'm going to use the control commands. I'm basically going to use my Control Alt Shift P to play. And there we go. And you can actually zoom out while this happens if you really want to watch it. See, I already got 2 seeds just now. It's actually pretty satisfying to watch this. You see how I'm sprinting now. Look. So now he's at full throttle. I'm missing some bushes. That's okay because I'm just not spamming the F key fast enough. You could probably spam it faster than I can, but you can see he's just going and he's just going to loop this. So you can see this path right here is the most ideal because I'm not stopping. And for the berries you're going to actually get for this speed. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. But basically that's how you loop it. And so if I were you, if I were building one of these, the way I would do it is I would start with a longer stretch, because you just got a block limit, right? So you can see you can do super long paths. You can see that long path back there. You can do super long paths, so why not do your berry farm that way? Just make sure it's not so long that if you were to loop all the way back that you're just wasting a bunch of time. You could actually probably do, I would say, triple the length of this and do a loop back, and that'd probably be more effective and efficient than what I've got here with all these little shorter runs. So I'm actually going to be redoing this probably in the next video that I have. You'll see my updated version. So again, you're going to create a starting point. Just put a little block so you know when you're back. So that's maybe a nice little key, knowing, oh wait, I'm back at my start, so maybe I need to place myself back to how I started. So again, we're going to bring up Tiny Task, and we're going to record and hit F8 to record. Now I'm recording. I'm going to hit F to spam collection, and then I'm going to corner, and then I'm going to use the D key to strafe left. I'm going back. Do this a little slower than you're going to do it, and then to the right. Now I'm back at the start. I'm going to hit F8 to stop my recording. I'm going to save my recording. Now I've got my test path. You're going to make sure you're on continuous playback, because if you're not, then you're going to only loop it once and then you're going to disconnect. And then you're going to go ahead and play that. And here we go. And that's how you do it. It's pretty easy to do. I would love to see some of the concepts you pull off. It's definitely a powerful tool for being able to auto, especially if you're more of a hardcore player and you really like to do a lot of farming. So a lot of you are like, hey, Dark, that's great for people that actually have berry farms. What about me? I don't have any berry bushes and I kind of need some and I can't afford them. So how do I actually get them? Well, if you have an auto farm for any other kind of thing, like if you have an auto carrots or tomatoes or potatoes or onions, ideally onions, you could actually use an AFK auto format too. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You can either use the same tool as with Tiny Task, or I'm going to actually recommend a better one I actually prefer that is just easier and more configurable, and just I like it better in general. It doesn't allow macroing, but it does allow auto click. But I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that my auto farm here actually has a single chest, and that's why most auto farmers will have a single chest, is because you want it to all kind of flow down to one chest. You don't want it to split off. So here's how you do it. So I use an app called OP Auto Clicker. It looks like this. So it is available on SourceForge. It is safe. Just go to Google if you want, or whatever your search engine is, and type in Auto Clicker SourceForge, or you can just type in Auto Clicker. Generally, just Auto Clicker will show it as well. So you can see it's the top one here. It is Auto Clicker download. Click SourceForge, and then you're going to download that, and it's a standalone app, so you can just run it anytime you want to use it. So download it, double click on the app, and you're going to see this, and then you're going to use F6 and F6 to stop. So F6 to start, F6 to stop. So I'm just going to drag this off screen so we don't have to see it, and then you're going to go to your chest. You're going to click F, and then you're going to just hit F6, and you can see I'm just autoing. So pretty much most people you'll see, like even transferring chests, you kind of have to use an auto clicker if you're doing a lot of stuff in this game. It's just, this game does not handle transfer of items very easily. So auto clickers are pretty common amongst players. You're going to see players doing that for transfers, for collecting things, farming, all that. And it is, according to the game team, they're okay with this. So the devs are fine with autos. And most games are. You just have to, you know, if they say they don't like them anymore, you got to stop. Just like I said about the macro. If they say no more macroing people, then you got to stop. So just follow their rules. But in this case, you can use this auto clicker on pretty much all of the farm types of, you know, potatoes, carrots. You know, obviously all it is just collecting from a chest. That's all you got to do. So as long as it's just a click, you can auto it. The other great thing is you can actually get auto clickers for a mobile phone. I don't have a tutorial for mobile players, unfortunately, because I don't really have a way of capturing that right now. And there's plenty of them, especially on Android, but I know there's some on iOS as well. So definitely do your own research there. For computers, you can find a ton of auto clickers. So this is how you basically auto farm overnight, and that's how you get rich fast. So if you see a lot of players that are in the millions and billions in their money, it's because they just do this overnight. Pretty much the only way. So that's pretty much it for this video. I hope it was super helpful for you for being able to learn how to auto farm bushes. It is powerful. Big shout out to iGaming Bro, who gave me a tip about Tiny Task. I had actually heard about it, but I never got around to checking it out. And I actually really think the app's super simple and easy to use. So you're definitely going to enjoy it as long as you give some patience and just follow the tutorial I just showed you. I didn't really leave anything out. Just make sure you just follow it closely, and you have to replay it. Just replay it if you have to, or pause it, whatever you need to do. If you liked the video, please hit that like button and subscribe if you're new, so you can keep up to date with any new Skyblock videos that I post. And we'll see you all next time. Take it easy.